Zion Williamson takes the court in preseason and looks pretty damn good. We'll talk a little bit about that. Him and Trey Murphy putting on a show in preseason. We're also talking about a rumor that has Russell Westbrook going to the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll talk about that. And the Rockets are going to be down another player at the start of the season. We'll talk about all that and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything NBA related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content today, y'all. And man, the preseason is kicked off. We already have had a couple of preseason games, and one of those games was the New Orleans Pelicans taking on Melbourne United overseas. And listen, Australian announcers in this one were great, but the story that everybody's going to talk about naturally coming out of this one is how good Zion Williamson looked in this game. And this is our first time to see slim down Zion in action. And even though it wasn't against NBA players or NBA competition and in preseason at that, in 16 minutes, he went 5 of 8 from the field, 5 of 7 from the free throw line, 15 points, 2 steals, 5 assists, 2 rebounds in this game, only 2 turnovers. And Zion looked so just light out there and fluid out there. And it seemed like he still had a lot of his power that didn't get lost. Now, this isn't against NBA competition, so we'll see how that looks as the game goes forward. But if this is going to be how Zion looks legitimately for a season, this is exactly what the New Orleans Pelicans wanted. This is exactly what Joe Dumars and everybody wants out of Zion, not only because you're still seeing the Zion that could still be dominant, still do the things that he's done, but he just looked like there was a lot more fluidity to this game. Like he glid across the court, and that's a really good thing when you look at the things that Zion has dealt with, the injuries that he's dealt with, and you want to see if this is going to maintain, and naturally you want to see if he's going to be able to keep the weight off for the entirety of the year, if he's going to be able to stay healthy, all those type of things. But for what this game was, at least, Zion Williamson looked really good, and this is the best of both worlds for Zion. It's exactly what they're hoping for him. And so in dropping that weight, you're hoping that you're going to get performances like this from Zion. He's been hurt. He hasn't been himself, right? And he came into training camp in great shape, and that's really good. And if he can stay healthy, and part of keeping off this weight does play into him staying healthy as well, right? If he keeps showing what he showed over preseason, as we get more and more, games against actual NBA competition and stuff like that for him, this could be one of Zion Williamson's best seasons. So shout out to Zion for looking the way that he did in this game, putting this game together. They play another game against Melbourne again on Saturday, but they don't take on actual NBA competition until October 14th against Houston, and then they finish out their preseason October 16th against Orlando. But for the Pelicans fans that have been watching this, waiting for this, and seeing how Zion looked, you got a show on today. But it wasn't just Zion. While the headlines are going to talk a lot about Zion Williamson, make no mistake about it, it's deserved because of the health, all those type of things. Trey Murphy III, 19 minutes and 18 points, going 7 of 13 from the field, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, only 2 of 7 from three-pointer. We want that to be better, but he had 3 steals in this game as well, only 1 rebound. When you get the game that you got 53, I wish, 33 points combined from Trey and Zion in a preseason game where they played barely combined 35 minutes. Like, that's really good production from those two. And so, we'll see if it continues for that. But Jose Alvarado put up 11 in this game as well. Jeremiah Fears, we got to see a little bit of him. He went 3 of 15, which you want to see better than that. But hey, this is a team that you can really start taking a look at. And, if it comes down to him being healthy, we'll see how it's going to look. Jordan Poole put up 11. They started Kevon Looney in this game as well, with Sadiq Bey out there also. So, they're taking a different look at things. But if Zion can stay healthy, and if this is going to be the new Zion Williamson, NBA teams may want to start watching out. And people like me who did have some doubt about Zion keeping off that weight, if he's able to do that, hey, it may be tides of changing in New Orleans, but it's all theoretical right now. He's going to have to show it, and you're going to have to see a lot from Zion. I would say, if people say they won't feel comfortable that this is legitimately Zion until you make it maybe to January, can you really blame them, right? Could you really blame them if that's how they feel because of what we've seen from Zion in the past? But this is going to go a long way in helping preserve Zion's career going forward. So we'll see what that happens. Now, one of the lasting, kind of the only questions now that a lot of people have is, what's going on with Russell Westbrook? He's not signed to a team. Preseason's already started. Kendrick Perkins had a interesting point where he said this. I think he should be on the Milwaukee Bucks right now. I really do. Now, that's interesting enough, right? The Milwaukee Bucks, who got rid of one guard in Damian Lillard, they waived and stretched him to be able to add Miles Turner. And while that team, I think, still needs some three-point shooting, one of the things that they as a question around that Milwaukee Bucks team is their bench. When me and JB did the last episode where we talked about teams that we think are going to struggle or surprise teams, one of the things that came up was the Milwaukee Bucks bench. How good is that bench going to be, right? And the Bucks would be an intriguing place for Russell Westbrook to go. They have guards, Kevin Porter Jr., they got Gary Trent, they brought in Cole Anthony as well, Gary Harris, right? He's there. Ryan Rollins, who's, going into his fourth year in the NBA. But could they bring in Russell Westbrook, a 9-time All-Star, and see what happens with that one? We shall see, right? Reportedly, the Sacramento Kings also have some interest in Russ. We don't know what's going to happen there. But Russell Westbrook is a veteran that can still help a team. Regardless of how you view Russ, there's a lot of narratives around him that his former teammates have combated as far as him being a bad teammate, stuff like that. Stuff that's out there. We've heard through, similar things happened to Carmelo Anthony when he was talked about towards the end of his career, stuff like that, right? And while Carmelo had to go away and then come back and was, had a productive season, could Russ do something like that for a team? I think Russ has already shown he's willing to accept a bench role. He's willing to play a complementary role off, other teams' main players and stars. And could Milwaukee be in the services of something like that? That's a question, right? We haven't heard anything that Milwaukee has any interest right now. I think to the contrary, it seems like they feel pretty confident in what they have in the roster. But Perk does offer an interesting standpoint on that. It's like, could Russ actually help the Milwaukee Bucks bring some consistent scoring off that bench? Albeit, I think in Russ's minutes, you would have to commit to playing Russ's style and to kind of focus on him. But would they be willing to do that? Could that help them get into a playoff push? I know that the Kings have been out there mentioned as a team for Russ, but I think with Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, you're adding Russ to that team. You did sign Dennis Schroeder on that. You're trying to get Keegan Murray back to where he was before. Domantas Sabonis, is that something that would help them or tip them over the top where Sabonis asked for a trade, which, is something the Kings are trying to avoid? Because if Sabonis wants out of there, you might as well blow that whole entire thing up. There's no ifs, ands, or but about it. If Domantas Sabonis goes to the front office, he's like, no, I don't want to be here. Get me the hell up out of here. Yeah, that could be a little bit difficult there, right? So let me know what you guys think on that one down below. Let's get into the last topic for today. Dorian Finney-Smith has not yet been cleared for contact, and according to Ime Udoka, it seems like he's going to miss the season opener. Ime saying this when asked about Dorian Finney-Smith. He said, no, probably not. Very simple there. And the fact that he's not been cleared for contact yet, he is participating in training camp, so that's really good. But this is a guy that you just signed to a 4-year, $53 million deal to come here to Houston, right? And you need what he brings as far as defensively, point of attack, all that type of stuff, his ability to hit an open three-pointer. You need that stuff. And so the fact that they're not going to have that potentially either to start the season doesn't seem, as it stands right now, they're too worried about it lingering on maybe past just the early part of the season. But you've already lost Fred VanVleet to this team. You've already lost your starting point guard and your veteran leader, who you do need with Kevin Durant out there. You need a veteran leader with KD because he's not a leader. And I don't mean that as a shot to KD. KD isn't the rah-rah, locker room, rally the team up type leader. He needs a guy like that to help rein him in sometimes. And so losing that is already hurtful enough. Now, rather, this is a deep Houston Rockets team. They have one of the best point of attack defenders in Amen Thompson, somebody who's going to be one of the best two-way players in the league at some point as well if he's not already there. But, losing depth early on could hurt you. And the thing that, we'll see with the Houston Rockets, we've already heard that they're going to give this until around December 15th when a lot of players are eligible to be moved to see how Reed Shepherd and the men do, and they do in shared ball handling things. You want to kind of figure that out. You want the least amount of hurdles as while you evaluate that. And this is a big hurdle for them, right? But, they still have some depth there. He went over a procedure over the summer. He's going to be fine at some point this season. But, you never know, right? Because some things do linger on. He did have ankle surgery. So with that, it could always be a scary thing there. But we shall see what happens. But let me know what you guys think down below. The Houston Rockets, who have, already knew that Dorian Finney-Smith had that offseason surgery, Already, we're kind of expecting him to go through rehab and stuff like that. He's not yet cleared. How serious do you think this is for the Houston Rockets? Let me know what you guys think on that down below. That's my time for today, though, guys. Make sure you guys are following us at NBA Central Pod. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything basketball related. And basketball is back on, so you're going to be seeing us a lot more. I'll catch you guys next time I feel like making a video. Probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.